Hey guys, ZX9 Green here. I'm finally making the video that I've been talking about in my mind and some of the forums forever about my 2015 F-150 with the 2.7 EcoBoost motor and my story with my motor and what happened with it. Bought this truck in July 2015. Fell in love with it, got a great deal on it. Sticker price was $48,000 and they marked it down real quick to $36,500. It is the XLT chrome package. And I'm gonna do some other reviews on the actual truck. This first one I want to actually do on my motor. Let's pop the hood and show you what the motor looks like inside. Okay, so here's my motor, 2.7. Looks kind of small in here. I either wanted the 2.7 or the 5.0. What I liked about the 2.7 was the turbo. I live in Colorado, so I tow up in the mountains, and the turbo really helps compensate for the altitude loss. It was cheaper than the 5.0 and got better gas mileage than the 5.0, and I like the stop-start technology. I test drove both of them, and I just love it. It felt like it was just kind of gliding as opposed to the 5.0 where you're kind of more the traditional V8, kind of more grunt power. And I just like the graphite block and all the research I did on it, the comparisons on a TFL truck, which is a great site if you guys want to see comparisons on trucks. Anyway, and it was, like I said, it was cheaper. I think it was $1,000 cheaper or maybe $1,500 cheaper. And the rest of the truck had what I wanted, the bench in the front and all that stuff, and I'll go over that later. But loved the truck, was in love with it, was happy as could be. It was my first full or half-ton truck. Before this I had a Ford Explorer Sport Track, which was a great little truck, if you can call it a truck. Anyway, was loving it, every second of it, loved driving it. And then I had 4,000 miles and I noticed some oil drips on my driveway, and I thought to myself, there's no way in the world that's coming from my $40,000 truck. And I kept seeing them, so I got under there and I saw where they were leaking. I'm actually going to pause it and I'm going to get under there so you guys I can show you where the old motor was leaking. Okay, this is kind of tough to see. This, I'm under my truck right now. Normally there would be like a kind of that cover under here so you couldn't actually see this, but I still have it off. But what happened is, if you see these bolts, I'm going to try to point out, these bolts are all around the plastic oil pan. You can see this other one in the corner, which is right there. Those are all around this plastic oil pan. Well, those were dripping on about 4 or 5 different bolts, and it was landing on this cover. And it pulled up enough that it would go over the cover edge and was dripping on the driveway. I took it to Ford. They did the whole, oh, did you change your oil? Did you leak this? I'm like, I've never had an oil change on this yet. It's only about 4,000 miles. Anyway, they decided that they were going to replace the oil pan. So here's kind of another. And you can kind of see some of the gasket liner pushing out on this. They seal this, doesn't have a gasket. It's the kind of like the RTV silicone sealant stuff. I'll bring it over here, you can kind of see. Anyway, you could actually see that it was coming from these bolts. It wasn't leaking over the edge, it wasn't leaking from above. So there's something to do with those bolts. I'm going to get out real quick so you're not looking at this, and I'm going to explain the rest. Okay, so to continue the story, this is off my cell phone, hopefully you can see my face. Anyway, they went ahead and replaced the oil pan, got it back. I drove 1,000 miles or so, and I left the cover off, looked up there, same exact thing, it's leaking at the same spot, same thing out of the bolts. So I took it right back, and they said, oh, the guy must have sealed it incorrectly, we'll do it again when you're ready. Well, each time they reseal it, I was getting a free oil change because they got to take all the oil out, and they said it's not going to harm anything. So I drove a little bit long. We drove the truck to Mexico, put quite a few more miles on it. They said there won't be any issue. They replaced it the second time. Lo and behold, exact same thing happens after they replaced 2 oil pans now. And I was like, you guys got to figure out what's going on. They act like they had no clue. We've never heard of this before. When I'm reading on the forums that other people are having these issues. Not only on the F-150, but other 2.7s that they had in some of the other SUVs. Anyway, so I didn't wait this long. I was like, I wanted this to stop leaking, so they did it for the third time. Meanwhile, the truck is running flawlessly. I'm pulling heavier loads. I'm pulling, 4,000-pound loads up in the mountains like it's not even there. Taking long road trips. Love the truck. The motor cruises on the highway like a dream, and the truck just feels awesome. Zero performance problems at all. So I wasn't terribly worried about it. Well, I got it replaced for the 4th time, and on the 4th one they were thinking about doing some other little changes on something on the lower block or whatever or something, and they said, hey, we think we got it figured out, so they just did it the 4th oil pan. And because they thought it was leaking from somewhere up higher, that it was getting, I don't know, and I just told them like it's coming from the bolts. And how I knew this is I actually would bring it back, I would clean all the bolts off. I could tell nothing was coming around because there's kind of a shroud that comes around the bolts. I took Q-tips, cleaned them spotless, let the truck sit there without moving, without starting the motor or anything. I come out a few days later and it's just seeping through there. So there's something going on where those bolts are. Anyway, so I get the 4th one changed, and lo and behold, same thing, still leaking oil. So I'm pretty pissed at this point. So I pull it's probably about 3,500 pounds, maybe a little bit more, from Denver area all the way to Utah. And truck pulls like a beast. We camp for a week. Have a great time. I was pulling like a single axle covered trailer full of quads and dirt bikes. We go to leave. I go to pass the semi on a 2-lane road, and I floor it, and the engine retards my timing, pops up that I have low oil pressure. So I back off the gas, the light kind of disappears. I thank goodness it wasn't a crazy pass where I had to get somewhere, because I actually had to back off and come back behind the semi, and I just passed it slower. Got to a point later, and I was like, how do I have low oil pressure? That's crazy. So I checked my engine oil, and I pulled my dipstick out, and there's absolutely 0 on the dipstick. And I'm just like, what is going on? That's crazy. Because it's not like I was leaking oil all over the place, so I couldn't figure out what was going on. I wasn't leaking out of the tailpipe. It wasn't getting on my trailer. Anyway, I topped it off. When I was still driving back to Colorado, every 250 miles I had to put a quart of oil. I got it back here to the Ford dealership, and they wanted me to do an oil consumption test. And so I started doing that, and while I was doing that, it seemed to only do it really bad when I was pulling a trailer too, which was weird. Anyway, while doing that, my limp mode came on. I had to limp it back to their place, and I had thrown a code now. And they said, hey, we have a code, we have something to go off. They start going through it, and they called me and said that one of my valves, one of the exhaust valves, part of it had broken off. And I actually have a picture on it. I don't know how, maybe I can link it onto here, but about the size of maybe the tip of your pinky had actually broken off. So that's where all of my oil was escaping, and it was going out this exhaust, getting burned in the Cadillac converter or whatever. But when that piece had broken off, some of it had gotten to a cylinder and scored the cylinder. So as soon as I got to that point, they didn't hassle around and try to pull a bunch of bull crap on me. They just said, hey, you're getting a new long block. It was nice because they don't have to give you a loaner vehicle, but they gave me a 2017 5.0 that I had for about 5-6 days. And I actually really loved it, and was kind of like, oh man, I should have got the 5.0 because my motor's not been very reliable. Anyway, I got the new motor in, and I've got 10,000 miles on it now, and it's ran flawlessly. And like I said, I love the way the motor feels. I love the way it pulls with this new motor. I pulled my biggest load last winter, which was around 6,000 pounds, up over the mountains in Colorado, and it pulled it like it wasn't even there. This truck's ready to pull 7,800. So I wasn't at my max, but I was up there, and it was, like I said, it was awesome. So I'm just the biggest worry for me is the reliability. And I've done some research. Other people are having some issues. I guess the timing chains or gear is breaking. Whatever they did on this motor or this oil pan, something's different or right, because I have 0 oil leaks, and like I said, I got about 10,000 miles on this motor. So I'm not sure if that was so much my block. I'm having a feeling that my old block, where they made it together, was either not playing or something in it, and that's how it was getting out. And I don't know if that contributed to my engine failing. I'm not 100% sure on that, but that's my story. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the truck when my warranty runs out, because I'll be right about 60,000 miles at my 5-year warranty. So I guess we'll kind of see how it continues to go. I'm also worried about the coking on the backside of the valve, since this has direct injection and no port injection. But feel free to put some comments. I'll ask any questions I can, and I'm going to do some reviews on the actual other parts of the truck that I really like, and we'll go from there. Thanks. Have a good one.